Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of So Much Good, a YMC podcast. I'm Reh Harvey, and I'm today's host and only guest today on the podcast. And today we're going to be talking about how we can reframe how credit unions think and talk about growth and strategy. When it comes to marketing, obviously the goal is usually some kind of loan growth or membership growth or deposits or whatever it may be. But the reality is marketing starts way before any of that happens. We know, working with credit unions over the years, that credit unions lovingly love to talk about products, rates, features, the different tech they have. But if you don't have three things in place to start with, all of that doesn't matter. This may sound familiar to you when I start talking about it. It actually comes from the idea and thoughts of Marcus Lemonis, an American businessman who um, invests in a ton of different companies. He runs a lot of different companies, but years ago he had a TV show called The Profit. And this is where I learned about this kind of philosophy that he uses every day, he says. And the idea is the three P's. It goes to people, process, and product. And the reality is, when it comes to credit union, we can also put that same framework and lay it on top of the credit union and see if marketing is going to work, if you need marketing to begin with, or if you should focus on repairing, fixing, or even building up those people, processes, and products. So let's start first. When it comes to people, and quick note, actually an important note to this, is the order in which we talk about these, the order in which they are listed, people, product, or people, process, and product, is vital. They can't be switched around, they can't be moved about, and here's why. People being the first one. People in the credit union world can be anybody from the CEO to the potential new member, but especially the front line. If you don't have the right people, the processes aren't going to work and the products won't matter. Does your frontline know about your promotions going on? Do they actually care to be there? Do they want to work at the credit union? Or to them, is it just another job? Because reality is, when that potential member comes into the branch, they're going to tell if it's just another job, if it's just a 9 to 5, clock in, clock out, or do they actually want to help that potential member and move forward? The hard truth of this is, if the people aren't right, number one, you got to have some difficult conversations or some training that's needed. But if they're not right, if they're not willing to be taught or trained or really dive into the why of the credit union, we can't move any farther. We can't go to the process and products. We have to deal with the people first. And again, when I say people, I don't mean just the CEO or just the board or just the potential members. I especially mean all of those, but the front line is primarily what I'm talking about. And the reality is credit unions can have a great strategy. They can have great growth. They can have great and strong balance sheets, but without the right people, all of that will fall off. The momentum will die, and the credit union will either be merged or, better yet, just existing, not even growing or declining. It's just there. When it comes to leadership, though, the leaderships, the CEOs of the credit union, the stakeholders, the board, is everybody aligned, or are they just being nice to each other? Is it one of those things that we walk into the office and say, "Hey, how you doing? I'm good. How are you?" Or are we all focused on the same values and mission? Are we all focused on the same goals? Does everybody know those goals? Do they understand why we have certain initiatives and incentives and everything else? Or is it, again, just let me clock in, do this job, sit behind this teller desk until someone comes in and help them, and all right, time to clock out? Are we empowering our people? And by that, are we clearly communicating with them? Are we communicating the struggles, the wins, the successes, the challenges? Are we communicating the goals of the year? By the time you're listening to this, it'll be 2026. Side note, I hope you guys had a great holiday season and a happy new year. But looking forward into 2026, are we already clearly establishing the goals of the credit union that we want to achieve this year? Or, again, are we just having willy-nilly employees sit there and say, all right, let me twiddle my thumbs. Oh, look, here comes somebody through the drive-thru. When ownership happens with employees, growth follows. Obviously, the CEO has ownership. Hopefully, the leadership team, if you have one, has ownership. But if that doesn't trickle down all the way, processes are pointless, products are pointless. It starts with the people. When it comes to credit union culture, what is the culture of your credit union? Are you nurturing it? Are you growing it? Is it not just a fun place to work, but do people actually care about each other? Those are some questions that I would ask to start looking at the people side of this people, process, and products. But on the opposite side of that, if you're also dealing with high turnover rates or worse, legacy mindset of this is how we've always done it, you're probably going to struggle with the people. And those are hard conversations to have because, again, hopefully we care about the people that we work with. But if we care about them enough, we know that they can't stay where they're at. They have to improve. for the sake of themselves and also for the sake of the credit union. All right, once we have the people down right, we have everything in line with the people. We have ownership. We have people that want to be there. They're excited for the year. They're excited to grow. The culture is on point. It's growing. It's nurturing. Continues to just become better day by day. Then we can move to the processes. A lot of times when we look at credit unions, specifically me, because I'm looking on the digital side, I'll look at the website and a lot of times it'll say, hey, print out this application and bring it into the branch. That would have worked maybe 30 years ago, but we're now in 2026. Part of the process of being a credit union in the future and being around is making sure that you have the tools necessary to reach those potential members and to satisfy their needs, to satisfy what they're looking for. If we're looking for a home loan and they're clicking on the application and it turns into a 30-page application that they then have to print out, get notarized, and who knows what else before they bring it in, let's take a hard look at that. Would you do it? Or would you want something that you can fill out 5 minutes tops, press submit, and go for it? When it comes to member onboarding, how easy is that? What's the messaging that you're putting there? Is it just say, hey, welcome to our credit union. We're so glad you're a member. Here's what we offer. Great. Or are you actually trying to solve their needs? Again, this isn't built in a day. This is something that you have to know your membership. You have to know what their needs are and what they're coming to the credit union for. And then another part of the process is really just making sure that everybody's trained. This kind of goes back to the people as well, is are we asking the right questions? Are we leading up? Are we leading our members? Or are we just coming in and saying, all right, what would you like from us today? Because the reality is when we anticipate their needs, it's easier to solve. When we know that person that has a super high credit card balance in the beginning of the year comes in talking about an auto loan, but we don't use that opportunity to talk about, hey, let's do a debt consolidation loan or talk about a debt consolidation loan as well. We've missed it. And really, that's where credit unions thrive. It's really caring about people, but authentically caring about people, not just saying, oh, we're people caring about people, as in the words of our dear former teammate, Frank Allgood, people please. One of the best ways that I can think of, and this is something I think about a lot at YMC, is I ask the question, if our best employee left tomorrow, would everything still work or would it break down? What would the process look like if that person left? The reality is that person can be a frontline employee or they can be the CEO. If they're a vital part of the process, make sure that, number one, that process is clear to them, it is clear to the team, and we have kind of scenario planning to what happens if that person leaves. Really, if we don't have an answer to that, or if the answer is, hey, the process won't work if that person leaves, then we still have to take a deep look at what we're looking at for the way the credit union operates. From the marketing side of things, I will say that the process that I face a lot, the challenge that I face a lot when it comes to processes with credit unions is really digging into the data. Do you have the right data? Do you know your membership data? And I'm not talking about like, hey, this person has an auto loan or whatever it may be, but are you letting the data tell the member's story? And by that, are you getting to know the member through the data that you have? So if they have an auto loan, how much is left on that loan? What's the plan? What's the next step after they pay that off? Are we helping them? Are they staying around, or are they just going to pay off the auto loan and bounce? This really is comes back to a data situation of, if we don't have good data, it's really hard to tell a story, and it's really hard to prove, hey, this marketing is working or this marketing isn't working, because we don't have any data to back that up. So we've covered people, we've covered process a little bit. So let's go to the third one, which is product. And the idea here, the main point for products is products succeed because of the people and process, not instead of them. So this is where I would say credit unions spend probably 90% of their time. If you look at any credit union website, well, I won't say any, but most, the first thing you're going to see is them pushing a product. Not necessarily a bad thing, but the idea is that doesn't really lead anything. Cool. Everybody else is pushing an auto loan. Everybody else is pushing a credit card. What are you doing to be different? What are you doing to show off the value prop of your credit union? Because reality is you can't really repeat on rates or compete on rates. And if you can, what does that mean for the potential member or the member themselves? The tech stacks, historically speaking, seem to be lagging. Are we offering new account types, or are we just sticking with what we have? Because again, we've always had it. So why recreate the wheel? Or are we actually looking at our products every year and saying, all right, we're seeing a shift in this direction or a shift in that direction. This is what we can control. And the credit union, we can't control everything else outside of the credit, but we can control the products that we need to help potential members and members succeed. A couple questions that credit unions should ask. Who is this product actually for? What problem does it remove, or what problem does it solve? Instead of throwing a rate up on a social media post or your website and saying, hey, look at our low rate. What if you actually translated that message into, hey, single moms out there that are struggling to pay the bills, here's a couple $100 that we can save you that'll actually help them. Or, hey, parents with multiple kids, we know that daycare is very expensive. With this debt consolidation loan, we can help you kind of save that money per month, but also make sure that all the payments are in one payment, not 20. Does your staff actually believe in the product? It's a good question to ask. Again, if the people aren't in the right spot, none of the rest matters. Have they been trained on the product? Do they know what to ask the questions when the potential member comes into the branch? Do they know how to cross-sell? All good stuff to ask. And if they don't, take the time to train them. Yes, it's going to take time. Yes, it's going to be busy no matter when you try to train them. But if you don't make it a priority, then you're essentially saying, hey, this isn't a priority. We're just running the day-to-day business. So when I think about what Marcus Lemonis said, how he views pretty much his whole world, both personal and professional, through the people, process, and products framework, he always goes back to the order matters the most. Well, this is a personal opinion, but I'll say it anyway. Most businesses and credit unions have challenges. They fail, they merge because they've skipped steps. They've overlooked the people and went straight to the products, or they skipped the processes, then went to the products. The idea is that people are the top of the pyramid. They are the ones that you have to start with first. Then if you have the right people, the right seats on the bus, you have to move to processes. You can't skip to products. You have to move to processes. After processes, then you can get your products. If you skip people, process breaks. If you skip process, the products are pretty disappointing and average. Skip the order, there's no strategy whatsoever. So here's my call to action to you guys. First, audit your people, audit your leadership. Are you aligned going into 2026? Is there clarity in each of the roles at your credit union? If not, establish them. Brene Brown always says being clear is kind. It's something I try to live by. If you're not being clear, you're causing confusion. And then take a look at your culture. Are you just another financial institution, or actually you living out your values and missions as a credit union? Again, that all starts with people, from the CEO, the front line, to the board, to the back office. If your people aren't in the right spots, none of this matters. The second step, take a look at your processes and map one core process from start to finish, whether it's loans or onboarding, membership experience. And wherever there's friction, fix it. Don't say, oh, there's friction here because so-and-so didn't do their job. Get rid of the blame. Fix the friction at every step of the way. Then when you're done with that process, move on to another one. And hopefully by the end of the process audit, you have fixed all of your processes where it's a smooth kind of journey from start to finish for everyone involved. And then lastly, take a look at your products. Obviously, simplify them. We don't need financial institutions with 30 different products. What we need is financial institutions who actually care about their membership enough to know what their membership needs, and then build their products from there. Clarify those products. Really dive into what those products mean for your membership, and get rid of all the financial jargon. Having a better rate, having an APR that's better than the bank down the road really doesn't mean much to the average consumer, especially because now you're dealing with those who are looking at the fintechs like Chime and Venmo. We're not competing against that. But the reality is Venmo, Chime, even those big banks like Schmargo don't really know your community the way that credit unions know your community. And if you're seg-based, that's even better, because you know your seg better than anybody else out there, or you should. And if not, go back to the people and start there. Growth doesn't start with a new product. It starts with the right people, supported by the right processes, and delivering the right things consistently over and over and over and over. If you get that order right, then 2026 and beyond is going to be a great year for you guys. Of course, if you have any questions or need anything, please feel free to reach out. We are always one email or one call away, but we look forward to, if you're a client of ours, we look forward to working with you and seeing more success in 2026. If you're not a client, we'd love to talk about you becoming one. So cheers to a new year and cheers to success.